Today with smoke going and hot, I am drenched head to toe in sweat. And it doesn't really look like we got a whole lot done, but we got all the framing done for the sidewalls. We'll start on our insulation next. And then once we get that up, we'll start framing our walls going across the bus. The framing went very slow. We had to use self-tappers in the wall, and even drilling a pilot hole, we were hitting a steel beam. It was eating up bits. So we ended up just having to work around the beam. But it was pretty convenient that we could use the bolt holes for the seats. We just took screws and put washers on them and screwed our board underneath, and that'll give us something to screw our wall covering to. All but about 6 of these windows are going to be covered. We've got metal panels getting made for the outside that'll cover them so you can't see in, and then we'll cover them with insulation and wall covering inside. I did not realize that buses were so unsquare. Most stuff that's welded together is put on jigs and welded square, but you can see here they actually had to redo their trim pieces because they didn't line up, and it made for a nightmare when we started trying to frame out for everything being so unsquare. But I think we got it pretty decent, and what's not square we can fix with trim, so it should work out and be all right. I did get check the heaters today. The front one here is working, the back one is not. The ground was unhooked from it when we got the bus, so I believe I hooked the ground back up, but I believe it may be a minor issue. So we're going to go ahead and keep it where it's at. I think we're going to be able to keep this one without having to relocate it as well and just build around it, since we got a cover for the wheel wells and stuff anyway. So it should work out pretty well. So today we got all of our insulation in from where we're going to be walling up our windows. When I originally started doing the insulation, my plan was to measure the window, go out, cut a piece, test fit it, make sure it worked, cut them all the same size. But I forgot how awesomely unsquare this bus is. So it turned out that every one was a different dimension, and I ended up just piecing some pieces in so I wasn't wasting material. Also too, a lot of the windows were 25 inches wide, so when I cut down a 25-inch piece, that left a 23-inch piece, which was too small and was going to be completely waste. So I just put them in and piece pieces in, and then we'll go back after we get all of our wiring and plumbing done. We'll spray foam all the cracks up so that they seal up good, and that should take care of it and insulate it. Also, when I was framing up yesterday, I forgot that we're going to need seals under the windows of the windows that we were keeping. So I went in and put in these pieces to make seals underneath each one. And again, with it being so square, out of square, I didn't really square them up. I just followed the windows that was there. So I know a lot of framers and carpenters are going to gripe about it not being squared up and using a level and all that. But I would rather it look square than actually be square. And as far off as this is, if I actually get it square, it's going to look unsquare because of the windows, the straight lines on the windows. So I just followed the unsquareness and put in the pieces that were there unsquare. So it's not going to look unsquare, even though it will be. And when we go to put up our wall coverings, I can tell that we're going to have a lot of issues with how unsquare it is with the wall coverings. That's just something we're going to have to deal with when we get there. I'm not exactly sure how we'll remedy that yet. We may have some walls that are slightly bowed that we may have to take the studs out and adjust them or something. I don't know. It's amazing how unsquare this bus is. Again, I don't know if it was built that way or if it got that way over time with driving down the road and just stuff settling and shifting, but it is definitely unsquare. And once you start trying to put straight boards in it and make straight cuts, you can tell how unsquare it really is. But this is our next project. Today's Friday. We're supposed to be picking up the flooring Monday, so whether I work on it on the weekend or not will determine what we do next. But if I don't work on it over the weekend, we will do the flooring next. I'm just dripping with sweat. It is miserably hot. We will do the flooring next, and then we'll go through and put our insulation along the bottom after we get our flooring in. If I do work on it this weekend before we get the flooring, we'll go in and drill all the holes for our plumbing and wiring. And then once we get the flooring in, we can actually start framing out our other walls and get all of our plumbing and wiring done. But for right now, I'm going to take you outside and show you what we're doing on the outside to cover up the windows where we're framing them up inside. Also, too, something that might be helpful to everyone is a materials list up until this point. To frame out all these windows, we left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 unframed. So to our open, not completely covered. To frame up all these windows like we've got them and leaving 9 windows, it has taken 24 2x2s up till this point. I bought 30, so we should have plenty left to frame around the wheel wells and do the extra framing we need. I did buy entirely too much insulation. I bought 10 sheets of insulation, a 1/2 inch styrofoam. I did 1/2 inch so that it would allow us room to run our wiring and our plumbing inside the walls. If I would have got too thick, it would have pushed the wall coverings out and we wouldn't have room in the walls. Since we're only using 2x2s instead of 2x4s, we use 2x2s to just give more room and to have as much width as possible in here. So we're doing 2x2s. We had to go with the thinner insulation. I think it'll be fine. You know, there's a lot of airspace there, plus the insulation, plus the walls already had some insulation. I think it'll insulate out fine. And since I have so much insulation left, I may use it for the walls running across just as a sound deadener, and it'll help to insulate the interior rooms also. I'll still have to end up taking some back because I bought 10 sheets and we only ended up using 5 to do all this. And I've got enough scrap probably to do along the bottom after we get the floors in here. So 10 sheets was entirely too much for that, but I really had no idea what I was going to need. I just bought some and I'll take back what I don't use. So 5 sheets, 24 2x2s will get you to this point. So let's go outside and see what we got going on for the window coverings outside. Out here, I had a local machine shop cut us some panels that we're gonna just put up by putting self-tapping screws in the top there. You can see the holes. We're gonna self-tap them into the windows. And then I'm gonna use the 3M molding tape around the edges to secure it. I've used the 3M tape a lot. If you get the good 3M tape, it is amazing what it'll hold on. They use it for moldings on sides of cars and stuff like that, and it holds really well. And I don't have any doubt that it'll hold these panels on, so we're gonna 3M tape all those before we actually install them. Though I just got this one up there test fitting it so you can see what it looks like, but we're gonna sand this out and paint it the same color as the panels so our whole middle section will match here. The machine shop did a really good job machining these. They are a perfect fit in the windows that are square. Some of the windows are out of square, and that's why we actually left this window open, is because it was so far out of square. I was gonna have to trim a 1/4 inch off of one side and an 1/8 of an inch off the top in order to make it fit, because it's just so far out of square. So we decided to leave that one open. It's amazing how unsquare these windows are, but the panels were very inexpensive. It was a cheap, easy fix. I see a lot of people welding the panels in. I just didn't want to put that much work into it. I think this will look fine and work just as well. So that's it for today. Like I said, our next project should be getting the flooring done or starting on the plumbing and the wiring for the electrical. And then after we get the flooring in, there's a lot of stuff we can do, so it should move pretty quick. See you on the next one.